Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your weekly DMV Sports Update, and I am your host, C Wall, checking in as I do each and every single week to give you the latest and greatest on the hot topics in DMV sports. You all, I'm trying something different. This is what happens when you do live streaming, live TV. You going live on all of the pages to see which one works, or maybe they all work. At any rate, before we get started, we have to go through some housekeeping items. Okay, it's got a lot of housekeeping items, y'all. Check it out. This is a live Bowie television recording. Everything we say and do here will absolutely end up on your television screens each and every single day from 1:30 to 2:30. That's Monday to Friday and Saturday and Sunday during the noon hour. Verizon Channel 11, Comcast Xfinity Channel 77. Make sure you are subscribed to the Bowie Television YouTube. Bowie TV at BCMC TV Maryland. Make sure you are subscribed. If you are watching through a live stream on Facebook, make sure you hit that love button and make sure you share this show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. If you have joined us from YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the bell so that you know whenever we're going live and you're getting all of the notifications as well. And last but not least, make sure y'all say hello to Mama Waller and Pops Waller because they be looking for you all to say hello. They be waiting for you all to say hello to them, but they understand that I have to go through the housekeeping items first. I already see a diehard Commanders fan, Bernard Plummer, has joined the conversation. Tonight, it's going to be Wizards, Gotta Talk, potential trades, and then I'm going to get into Commanders. My Bowie TV colleague, Darrell Owens, will be joining me because we're absolutely going through our list of potential GMs and head coaches for the Commanders. We want you all to know who we're looking at. We've done our due diligence. We've done our research as Bowie TV, and we're going to let you all in on who we think some of the great candidates are. So Wizards fans, check in, hit that love button, drop a fire emoji because you're up first, and make sure you share this show with your Wizards loving family and friends. And absolutely Commanders fans, we got a lot to talk about because we absolutely want to go through this list for sure. Hit the love button, share the show. Let's get started. Wizards fans, hey, listen, you all know I already told you the season was going to be dismal. Not very good. Quite bad, actually. And I shared with you, just see how the team is developing. See how the individual players are developing. Now, with that being said, we also understand and know that those are, at times, key indicators that players could absolutely be used and leveraged as trade bait. With that being said, definitely a lot in the rumor mill right now about potential trades for Wizards guard Tyus Jones and for Kyle Kuzma. One team in particular that is one to watch for Kuz is the Indiana Pacers. Now, here's the thing. Just when you felt like maybe the Wizards have a point guard, finally, because they haven't really had one, let's be all honest about it, since a healthy John Wall, you think you got something in Tyus Jones, and then you start hearing the rumor mill, and you're like, OMG, he could get traded. Same thing with Kuz. And we know that Kuz just signed a 4-year deal back during the summer, likes playing in DC, wants to be here, wants to be a part of the rebuild, and has communicated that even on his public Instagram. So this is something to watch. We're upcoming on the trade deadline. We know what was happening last year leading up into the trade deadline, where there's smoke, there's fire. We started hearing about potential for Rui Hachimura getting traded, and he did. So this is something that we're going to have to watch. Wizards fans, drop in the chat if you are for any trades of any players. What you thinking so far about the development of the individual players themselves? The Wizards, I mean, we know they're, especially when it comes to defense, they're basically the last in the league. If you haven't bookmarked it already, make sure you have bookmarked the Inside the Wizards Sports Illustrated Fan Nation page. I'm the managing publisher for that page, and we have content coming out each and every single day. And that is where you can keep up with all of the things Wizards and what's happening with the reports in terms of the team moving to Northern Virginia and the potential for trades. But the only thing, when you start thinking about trades, and shout out to Pops Waller, shout out to my dad, because he always says this: how can you build anything when you have players constantly in and out? At some point, you're going to have to determine who are going to be your core. Not saying that you don't make moves to try to get better, but it's always so hard to say, this is who I'm going to stick with. I want to go back to the point I was making just a moment ago about Tyus Jones. Again, just when you thought to yourself, well, maybe, just maybe, the Wizards finally have a point guard. Tyus Jones had a little bit of a slow turn getting ramped up. We know at times where I know I would want to see him in the game, Coach Unseld Jr. would have him on the bench. But hey, as of late, we've been seeing him cook a little bit. We've been seeing him be extremely effective and efficient. So then hearing, okay, he would be made available for trade, it's like, okay, all right. That as soon as it starts to get a little good, now he might be on the trade block. Definitely my jaw dropped a bit hearing that Kyle Kuzma could be available for trade as well. Wizards fans, definitely drop in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling about the potential for either one of those guys being traded. We do know, let's talk about this elephant in the room, that Jordan Poole has definitely been a player that has been discussed in terms of trades. We've seen his play be up and down, unfortunately, more down than up so far this season. So that may not be as much of a gut punch if Poole was to get traded. At the same token, oftentimes, a player who's not as consistent isn't always who other teams are vying after. The thing of it is, Tyus Jones and Kyle Kuzma are actually viable players and great options potentially for any team, especially when you can look at the schedule and say, all right, well, the Wizards aren't going to do much this season. They probably won't do anything at all. A potential NBA team that wants to make a strong playoff push and wants to go deep into the playoffs can see both of those guys being great opportunities for their team. So we'll see, Wizards fans. Have you been to any games? Love button, fire emoji if you've been to any games. I've actually been to games early on in the season to cover the team, but hey, the NFL season is what it is, and that seems to have taken over the bulk of my life. Upcoming this weekend for the Wizards are a visit by the New York Knicks. So we'll see what happens. You never know. The Wizards could absolutely go on a surge. When we've seen the Wizards play well, it's actually quite fun to watch. They aren't that terrible when they're playing well, but defensively, it's just really awful. Inside the Wizards staff writer, Gage Sheets, actually just published this evening an article actually about just how bad the Wizards have been defensively, specifically Jordan Poole. So make sure you all check that out when you have a chance. Commanders fans, you're up. If you are just tuning in, you're watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update. I am your host, Seawall. This is a live Bowie television recording. If you are watching through the Facebook stream, hit that love button. Share this show with your Washington Commanders loving family and friends. And if you are checking in from YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up and hit the bell, drop the link to your Washington Commanders loving family and friends, because we're going to talk. And in a moment, my colleague Darrell Owens is going to join me. And so while we're waiting for Darrell to join, I got to do something that we always do. We got to keep it consistent. We know the season is over. It's done. It's done. And small commercial break. Part of DMV Sports. We also cover the Baltimore Ravens. If you're on the YouTube channel, you'll see a ton of Baltimore Ravens coverage as well, because we absolutely do cover the Baltimore Ravens. My colleague, Karita Parks, covers them. But on this show, when it comes to NFL football, we only talk Commanders here. But a game we play, if you are new to the viewership of this show, hello, how are you doing? We still going to play this game, you all. We're going to still play it, because we have to be consistent. What's your one word? And that is, what is your one word to convey how you were feeling after the Commanders went down to the San Francisco 49ers? Drop it on in the chat, and I'll put it up on the screen so that you can share how you were feeling. Go ahead and drop it in. And I'm going to put it up on the screen. Does anybody have any words? If not, that's okay. Maybe everybody's kind of like, and I see everyone is waiting for the tried and true draft position. And we're going to talk about draft position at some point. Maybe we'll get to that this evening, but we'll see. We really want to get into these GM picks. We're going to get into these GM picks and these head coach picks. I can't wait to share with you all. You all see me smiling. I'm already excited about it, because we're ready to move on. Well, before we can move on, I have to show you, this is something else we do on the show, where we actually show the press conferences from the previous game. So here is Coach Ron Rivera's after-game press conference. Check it out.
Jacoby to playing, and how did you think Sam did?
Well, Jacoby was still tight, so we just had to be careful with it, and that's why we went with Sam. I thought Sam had some really good moments. It really, early on when things were balanced, it was one of those things that the situation gave him an opportunity, and he performed. He really did. I thought he made some good decisions, threw some really good balls. And it's just, obviously there are a couple throws I promise he would wish he had back, but, he did a lot of good things.
It seemed like you guys were especially efficient with the run game. Would you have liked to have done that started at the very start and kept it going throughout the game?
Well, I thought we did use it when we needed to, and it gave us opportunities.
Ron, it's been a long time since you've had a lost season like this, where it's playoffs have been eliminated pretty early on. How does it feel, and how do you kind of get this team ready for one more home game?
Well, because we got one more home game. It's a group of professionals. I think the guys understand that, and just expect them to show up and do their job.
What did you think of the defensive performance today?
I thought the guys were really gritty. I really did. I thought they gave themselves opportunities. This is one of the better running teams in the league, and trying to contain it and keep it inside, not let them stretch you. Because their backs have great vision, make good decisions on their cutbacks, and we were trying to keep it as compact as we could. We had some really good moments. We really did. They mixed some things up early on us. They broke a few tendencies, and they did a nice job, obviously, of doing that. And we had to try and make some adjustments to try and limit some of their runs.
Ron, if it's possible, because of all the uncertainty with the quarterback this week, where do you think Sam is after essentially a year?
I think he's, taken a kind of step that you need, early on that just shows he's got the growth going forward. I believe he's a guy that can be very, very good in this league. It's still, there's some things he still has to grow on, obviously, and we can be better and help him as well.
It may be difficult in this era to kind of have patience with anybody, but especially at that position, is patience not something that can be thought of or used when it
Well,
comes to quarterback?
it is, I think, unfair at times. People want everything now. And, if you're willing to go through the process and deal with the process, then patience is necessary.
Was Jacoby's tweet enough that he may not play next week as well?
Well, we'll find out. I can't tell that part of it. I really can't.
Understood. If he's healthy enough, would he start?
Well, we'll see. We'll get together and we'll talk about it and see how things go.
And then one more on Sam. A few weeks ago, you had felt like maybe he was the answer. You talked about him as the long-term guy. Do you still feel like that about him?
I still think he has that opportunity to be that guy. I do. I mean, when you see some of the things that he did early on and, when things weren't as tough as they are right now, he's shown that he has some ability.
And we're going to share Sam Howell's after game press conference, and then we'll get into our list because our guy Darrell Owens is in the virtual background and he's going to jump in a moment on here with me. While you're watching the after game press conference from Sam Howell, drop in the chat, what do you think? Do you think Sam Howell should get another year to try to be this team's future quarterback, or have you seen enough and you're over it and you believe that the Commanders need to draft another quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, just didn't make enough plays in the second half and turn the ball over too much. But did some good things in the first half. We're kind of in the game, but just didn't make the plays we needed to in the second half.
Can you speak on being able to connect the trade a little bit more? You got on that deep route out the slot. Was that something you were able to work on? You saw on film that the 49ers were successful to on that play, on that deep pass to Terry?
Yeah, I mean, coming into the game, the 49ers, they don't play a ton of man coverage, but, we kind of thought coming into this game they might play a little more man than they usually do, and we got man on that play, and I think Terry against anybody in man coverage is a good matchup, so we kind of had a check at the line of scrimmage, and he killed him at the line of scrimmage, ran a great route, great release off the line of scrimmage, and I just tried to throw a ball out there that he could make a play on.
Obviously, it was a little bit of a wacky week for you. How odd was it kind of going through from, Monday until game day?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, interesting week. Wasn't expecting until about 2 hours before the game to have to play today. But every opportunity I get to come out here and play and play in the National Football League is a blessing and a great opportunity. And every single opportunity I get, I try to go out there and give it my all and make the most of it.
How much work did you get this week, and did you feel prepared when you got the call for the game?
I didn't get much work in practice, but I've gotten to work all season long, and I feel prepared. Even when I wasn't getting the reps this week, I still felt like I was prepared to come out here and play.
Is there anything specific in this past game that you already know that you want to work on for next week, the final game, to just kind of fill out on that?
Not at this moment. I think I just have to watch the film, but just keep trying to just complete the football and play put good plays together and stack them on top of each other and just try to help my team win games.
And how do you mentally stay in the same state to be ready to play even though you weren't committed to your starter today?
Yeah, I'm always ready. No matter what the circumstances is, as long as I'm gonna have a chance to play, I'll be ready.
How involved was Jacoby kind of with you, kind of leading up to the game, and then obviously in game? Was it kind of as it's been the rest of the season? Was it a little more talkative since he'd gotten a lot of work this week?
Yeah, pretty much the same as been all year. He's been a great voice for me and a great teammate. But he's helped me a lot throughout the year.
All good.
Cool. Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's bring Darrell Owens in with me. Darrell,
What's up? What's up?
going on? So listen, as I shared with you all at the top of this show, and if you are just tuning in, you are watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update. I am your host, Seawall. I've already covered the Wizards. We done gone into the Wizards and the trade rumors of Kuzma, Tyus Jones, potentially Jordan Poole. Now I'm joined with my Bowie TV colleague, Darrell Owens, to get into some of the Commanders. If you are tuned, remember I said at the beginning, I'm streaming to all the things. If you all of the things. If you are commenting on Facebook, you have to be on the Seawall Sports and Entertainment stream for us to see your comments. So you would have to hop on over to the Seawall Sports and Entertainment stream in order to see the comments there. I knew it was a reason why I didn't do it on my page. So that was the reason. But if on YouTube, we can see all your comments, I do believe. So love button. If you're on Facebook, share this show with your Washington Commanders loving family and friends. If you're on YouTube, hey, our YouTubers, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell so that you get the notifications, and just hop on over to Seawall Sports and Entertainment Facebook stream if you're watching from Facebook to make sure we get your comments there. Because I saw some comments and I was like, it's not coming up. That's why. Live TV, folks, live TV. So, secret. I'm gonna tell a secret, Darrell. I'm gonna tell a secret. On Sunday, I left Darrell to go attend the Commanders press conferences by himself. I said, I'm going over. I'm going to the 49ers locker room. I'm going over here.
So
I'm going over here. I'm going over here to talk to Trent and Chase. And so with that being said, congratulations to Trent Williams on his 11th Pro Bowl. I believe Chase Young is an alternate. I think he was named an alternate, I believe, Darrell, I think. But and congratulations to Montez Sweat on his first Pro Bowl. So we always got to shout out our former Commanders when they're doing great things. With that being said, let's get on into what I know everybody wants to talk about. People ready for Black Monday. You don't have much longer. Yeah. Nobody has much longer. And it's just, is what it is. Tough business. But Darrell and I have come up with our list of GMs and head coaches. And I'm going to jump to some of the comments here. Erias Wright said, he's seen enough of Sam. He said he's seen enough. Mama Waller said, hello, everyone. Hey, Mom. And Bernard said, I want to believe that he can be the guy. That's in terms of Sam, but I'm not betting the house on it. I'll take Harrison at 2 and figure the QB out after that. So you all, how we're going to do this, I think we're going to go through GMs first, right, Darrell?
I'm good with that.
GMs first.
I'm good with that.
Then turn it over to Darrell to go through the list of head coaches. All right, you all ready? Let's see what you all think about this list here. This is Bowie TV's Washington Commanders potential GM list. Check it out, you all. Here's what we're thinking from this, right? And let me share a bit about our process, if you will, for doing this. We were straight up like, hey, who are the winningest teams in football in the last 5 years? In the last 5 years, who are the winningest teams in football? And can you list in the chat who you all think those teams are? I'm going to go ahead and tell you while you listing those out in the chat. The Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, the Green Bay Packers, the San Francisco 49ers, the New Orleans Saints, the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Seattle Seahawks. Okay? So those are the teams. Those are the top 10. Won the most in the last 5 years. Then I said, let's take a look at how those teams are doing this year. Narrowed it down a little bit more. Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, 49ers, Cowboys / Eagles. This is how I came up then with this list. I want to know who's been got some longevity in this talent evaluation game. So we're starting at the top left with Adam Peters, the 49ers assistant GM. That goes without saying, right? The way the 49ers draft, the amount of depth that they have on their roster. So the thing with Adam Peters, though, is John Lynch received a promotion. So there's a strong possibility that now Adam Peters may move up to that general manager role. If not, absolutely a great choice. Then to the right here, from the Kansas City Chiefs, I told Darrell, I said, Chiefs, anybody. Pick one. You know, have them pick a name out of a hat. It doesn't even matter. It's from office perspective. Because in the last 5 years, even if we're talking longevity, but specifically the last 5 years, it doesn't get any better than what we've seen them do. Straight up with the Chiefs organization. Then I said, okay, Alex Hallaby. I'm going to tell you the truth. I really, really, really like Alex. I really, really, really like Alex. And I'm going to tell you why I like him so much. He's into analytics. Oh my gosh. So if we're talking tried and true talent evaluation, coupled with knowledge of analytics, which is like the new current wave and the next wave, look no further than Alex, right? The challenge though with Alex is I don't know how it really works from a moving within the division perspective. So not so sure about that. Joe Hortiz or Horitz from the Baltimore Ravens, the director of player personnel. And I see some comments here in the chat, and we're going to try to put those up on the board here. I said, Josh already said, listen, I'm going to tell you like this. Let me take this down. Let me take this down for a minute. I'm going to put it back up. I told Darrell this. Y'all may have heard me say this on a previous show. It is absolutely strategic and by design that Bowie TV covers the Baltimore Ravens. As I have shared with you all a multitude of times, let's be very clear about something. Yes, everybody knows I grew up a Commanders fan. Everybody knows that ain't new news. And everybody knows that I've been covering the Commanders on site for 6 years now. That's where I met Darrell. I've been on site. I've been there. But we would all be crazy if we didn't look up the Beltway for an example of a model sports organization, not just NFL, sports organization. And so with the opportunity here at Bowie Television, we absolutely said, we're going to shoot our shot and cover the Baltimore Ravens. And Darrell kicked that off for the team at the beginning of OTAs last summer, and Corita Parks has kept that going. But let's be very clear about something. If you were to model after any organization in the NFL, when you got an example right up the road, that is what you use. The example up the road. Don't cry, Urias. It's a very, very organization to model after. The record speaks for itself. And let's also be clear about something else that Josh Harris has said. He wants to be competitive in the playoffs. Everybody wants to win a championship. Everybody wants to win a Super Bowl. But he talks about being competitive in the playoffs. And the Ravens are a team that have absolutely been consistent and competitive year after year. And the vibe is immaculate. Malik Boyd, Bills assistant GM. That's another team quietly has drafted very, very well and has also made some great free agency moves. We know that each one of these teams that we are listing out here as potential GMs, they've all made great decisions from a free agency and draft perspective consistently over the years. Down there at the bottom, a wild card pick, Don Appointe. You maybe have heard her name here recently. She's the NFL Chief Administrator of Football Operations. That means all of the teams and their football operations report to her. How about we say she's a bad mama jamma, okay? She know what she got going on, so we got to put her on our list. Now, here's a couple of sleepers. Now, Darrell has grown up a Green Bay Packers fan. I said, now, look now. I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't trying to, but the Green Bay Packers quietly draft very well. Very well. And Milt Hendrickson has a history being in whose front office? The Baltimore
Ravens.
Oh, hey, listen, we're doing our homework over here. And quiet as kept, another bad, you go ahead, shut your mouth. Catherine Raish from the Cleveland Browns. Darrell brought the Browns up. Hey, listen, they've made free agency moves. This is a team that we've seen just this year go through 4 quarterbacks and make the playoffs. playoffs. This is a team that was once laughed at, once joned on, once talked about. Now they a team to beat. Darrell, I like that list. I
I love
like
it.
that list.
I like the list. I like the list. It's
Mm.
so the person on the list that I think if they hold true to the Ravens and the model, then Horace is more likely or a strong opportunity to be the pick. Now I may be a little biased. I may be a little biased on this one, but Milton Henderson is a very quiet piece on that Green Bay Packers team, where you look at the youngest offense in football right now, and they're one win away from making the playoffs. They got 8 wins this year. The entire offense, the skill positions minus the offensive line, 23 and under. Jordan Love is 25, and their receivers are playing out of their minds. The offensive line is protecting them beyond belief. And it's because they've been able to find pieces when people get hurt. David Bakhtiari goes down. Well, okay. Well, we're just going to go ahead and plug in this young man, Walker. He's having a great season. You see the receivers go down each week. They've had 3 or 4 receivers in and out, fluxing out that lineup. They've had like 6 or 7 guys, and they've been rolling. And it's because they've always been able to evaluate talent. The defensive side of the ball is a little bit shaky from here and there, but they still find the talent. And I really think he could be a really undercover one. If you look at the fact that the Baltimore Ravens, he was with the Ravens from 2005 to 2018. So that is at 13 years. Am I saying that right? Yes. So that's 13 years. That means he was under Ozzie Newsome. He knows how the Ravens run. And if you're not trying to steal Joe Horowitz, that's a guy that you kind of lean into and you go there. There's so many great candidates on this list. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Candy. The Commanders the last couple of years have been all about diversity. All right. So the diversity part kind of makes me think, maybe they go boy, or maybe they go from get a female or a woman to take that role. So it's going to be a fun road here to see how they go about it. But there's some excellent candidates if they can pull some of these, able to pull one of these amazing candidates away from those teams.
Absolutely, Darrell. And the thing about it is, like I was sharing and sharing with you all again, the key is consistently longevity in being a consistent name all throughout the season, in the playoffs, who has made good draft choices. Here's the other thing that we wanted to make sure we brought up, Darrell. I'm glad it just came up in my mind. These are teams that have gotten to where they are with the top 3 pick. Okay, these are teams who have made their claim to fame, finding the diamonds in the rough, finding the hidden gems. And the reason why they haven't made their claims to fame necessarily, most of the teams that we're talking about, pretty much all, is because they winning. And when you're winning, you don't get a top pick. So these are teams where it's not about the top 3. It ain't even about the top 10 for most of them. Of course, they've had some throughout the years, but these are teams who have consistently thrived in draft, in free agency, and they are in the playoffs every year. They have household names on their teams. They have multiple Pro Bowl players on their teams. And that is what this new ownership is going to have to be looking at, especially if they want to shorten that rebuild time. They got to get somebody in here who knows what they're doing and who knows how to get them and what they're looking at. The other thing that you're mentioning too about the diversity aspect, going back to Don for a moment, in Don's role as the chief administrator of football operations for the NFL at the league level, with all of those teams' operations reporting to her, it would give her the opportunity. Yes, she's the general manager, but it would also give a potential opportunity to bring in somebody that is a true talent evaluator that only focuses on the roster.
Right.
It ain't about the football operations. I got football operations if I'm done, right? But I'm going to bring in somebody that your sole responsibility is talent evaluation. I think that's a great point you made about diversity from that aspect as well, Darrell. This is going to be good. Now, Darrell, next up, you're up.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So here we go. Here's the deal. So I had to do a lot of thinking on this to an extent on how I wanted this to go. Now, obviously, you see the man at the top, Mr. Mike McDonald. Ravens defensive coordinator, and a lot of people are going to scream at me and say, Darrell, wait a minute. This team needs offense. This team needs everything. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. But when you got the worst defense in the NFL, how do you go about fixing that? Why don't you go and snag the young man, 36 years old, a talented defensive mind. He's got the Ravens playing lights out right now. We saw what they did to the Dolphins last week. It's a little bit tough. I got the Dolphins offensive coordinator on here, but he's done well. And what I like about McDonald is I think that he could really find a way to bring out, if they decide to keep some of the players. I think he can bring out some of the dog in some of those players. If not, I think he'll be able to find the pieces that he needs to be able to bring and bring this Commanders team back to where they need to be. Now, little tidbit about Mike McDonald. That I know it's a little bit wild, but I during the training camp, I had a chance to meet a young lady who happens to be his wife and is a former Commanders cheerleader. I had no clue, and she was like, "I'm married to that man right over there," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So it brings a little bit of that in there, but that's just a little fun fact. Now, but Mike McDonald's my favorite in these choices. I think if you're gonna follow the Ravens, if you want to build around it and be a part of what they have brought, through in the NFL the last couple of years, I think that's the way to go. He's young, and he fits the mold of coaches that we've seen in the NFL over the last 5 years. Next, Frank Smith, offensive coordinator for the Dolphins. Now, this pick is because if you want to go fix your offense, well, guess what? The Dolphins offense has proven this year that they can score, flat out score, just absolutely score at times. Now, rough week last week, but wouldn't you want a guy who is kind of would be a little bit under that Shanahan tree, a little bit under that McVay tree, because they kind of mix together there. I think Frank Smith would be a great offensive mind to kind of bring to the Commanders, and maybe if they decide to keep Sam, maybe they can fix what they have going on there. The next one, the hot candidate, the one that I think everybody's going to be drooling over in the offseason, that's Ben Johnson. Now, Ben Johnson, I heard, is asking for $15 million. Now, I don't know if that's something that he's doing because the Carolina Panthers seem to be the team that wants him the most, and he wants to protect himself by asking for $15 million. I don't know. But he feels like that he's that hot of a commodity, which he is, and he will be probably, if not one of the top 3 coaching candidates out there. So just in general, we've seen what he's done in Detroit. Detroit has done an amazing job offensively this year, and I think that he will be a really good candidate, or at least to get an interview for Washington. Now, here's the one that I know a lot of people, and I see some comments, but here's one, and that's Eric Bieniemy. We all know that Bieniemy was brought here to try to enhance his opportunity to be a head coach. Now, has he done enough this year to maybe be seen as a head coach for this team? I don't know. Obviously, we heard a lot of stuff come out about the team, and we heard players, rumors that players didn't like him and all that stuff. So I think that makes it hard for him. But I do think the organization will at least give him an opportunity to be interviewed. And I'm hoping that it's not because of the Rooney Rule or anything like that, that I think he does at least deserve the opportunity to at least get interviewed for that position. So those are my choices right there: McDonald, Smith, Johnson, and Bieniemy. I know there's some others out there that are really recognizable, but for me, I got a feeling that Mike McDonald is going to be the guy. 36 years old, young mind. That's the trend in the NFL right now, and that's what I think they need. They need a young guy who can understand today's game. I think that's your choice.
Listen, I'm fine with it. I'm okay with it. And now, going back to the point of Coach Bieniemy, and this is something that Darrell and I talked over a bit as well, and that is, we think it's only fair to give him an opportunity to interview for the role. You're dealing with a roster that you didn't choose, and you came in to help change a culture, and this year just wasn't it for whatever reason, right? Which might be surprising to so many. I mean, we already saw the comments in the chat about the Pro Bowl. The team went from 4 Pro Bowlers last year and 2 alternates to 0 Pro Bowlers this year. Tress Wade didn't even get in this year. And so that is a testament to the change in the shift just in a year of what could have happened to this team. And despite that, Coach Bieniemy, he's come in. He is the assistant head coach. We do think it's fair that he at least gets an opportunity to interview for the job. And he does come from Kansas City pedigree. Now, let's just go ahead and be fair about that as well.
I agree with you 100%. I think the other key element with this, with Coach Bieniemy, is that we know his style is a lot different than Ron's. And I think they tried their best to coexist to an extent this year under the different styles. Look at Kansas City, for example. I mean, that team, yes, they're still Kansas City Chiefs, but they're not the same Kansas City Chiefs since Eric Bieniemy's left. Yes, they won 10 games. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make some noise in the playoffs, or they should make some noise in the playoffs. They're not the same team. That discipline on the offense doesn't look the same as it did when Bieniemy was there. Now you come and you look at it on this end. I think the clash of styles between Rivera and Bieniemy is maybe the problem at hand. And who knows? Let's say Bieniemy gets his job, he gets to bring in players that fit more of his style. Could be a whole different dream. So I think that it's an important element to at least give him an opportunity to interview for this job. And if they feel comfortable enough to make that leap, we'll see.
If you are just tuning in, you are watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update. I'm your host, C. Wall. I am joined here with my Bowie TV colleague, Darrell Owens. We've talked about Wizards and trade rumors. We've now just gone through our list of potential general managers and head coaches for the Washington Commanders. Definitely drop in the chat what you think about the list. Next up, Dallas Cowboys, last game of the regular season. The game has been changed to 425, and we're like, wow.
Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that.
Out of there. And
not a fan of that.
Locker clean out.
It's gonna be cold.
Day is slated for Monday. It is gonna be cold.
It's gonna be cold, man.
Make sure. Yeah, we talk about that in a minute.
Pray for me, y'all. Pray for me.
Pray for you. Yeah, it is gonna be cold. And locker clean out slated for Monday morning. It's already a different feel. Last year, yes, the Commanders just missed the playoffs. We know that the Commanders ended up beating Dallas last game of the season. The chances of that happening this year, that's not going to happen. So the overall mood, and depending on what really happens in terms of a Black Monday, timing of announcements, when things happen, we really don't know what to expect.
Nope.
After the game on Sunday night, we don't know what to expect when we're there on Monday. So I don't know. We don't see. We're gonna see though.
Yeah, we're gonna wait patiently and figure it out and kind of go from there.
Go ahead, Darrell.
What I was about to say is, like, it feels like, when we used to work in retail, they'd have you work a late shift and then have you come right back in the morning. I think that's exactly what we're about to do. We're going to have to work a late shift and then had to come right back in early in the morning to figure out what's going on. But like I said, we'll be there. Bowie TV is going to be there to get you that inside scoop.
We'll be there a lot. And this is going to be a very interesting off season. You all make sure that you are subscribed to Bowie TV on YouTube. Make sure you're following Darrell and myself on all social media as well. We're not going to miss a beat because we're going to be right there with everything. And so we're going to see. We're paying a lot more attention. I see the thing, our tank for number 2. But hey, remember now. And let's say what have I been saying, Darrell? They get number 2. This better be a generational pick. This better be the last time. The owners got to make a splash. You better make it count. This better be what it's all about, because these teams that we just named,
right?
The teams that we were just talking about, the top 10 winningest teams over the last 5 years, those top teams, those executives and potential head coaches are coming from. These are not people that pride themselves on top picks.
Yeah, and
so it's got to be a complete overhaul of culture for all parties involved: fans, media, staff, inside the building, on that football field. We not getting famous off a draft top draft picks. Those teams haven't gotten that. So it's going to be a shift. And whoever they pick at 2, it better be good, because it is not get somebody and develop them. You got to get in and you better do the Joe Burrow, or you better do a Patrick Mahomes. Well, Patrick Mahomes wasn't nowhere near to, but you get what I'm saying? It's got to be somebody that you like, whoa. And that's what they got to do, or else you're going to be in trouble, to say the least. I think that if they don't come out strong, they for sure can lose this fan base pretty quick. Let's see here. Yes, it's going to be a cold weekend. We see our colleague. Can you hear me, Darrell? Might have lost Darrell. Can y'all hear us? Oh, we back. We back, Darrell. We see our colleague Terrence Pitts. Bowie TV covers all HBCU as well. It's a lot, y'all. There's gonna be a lot going on. Make sure you're locked into Bowie TV. That's our list. We don't know if this job is that desirable, though.
Now, Candy, I don't know if you can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I can't hear you. I don't know what happened, but
oh man,
I don't know what happened.
Can y'all hear
us?
us?
Was working and it just went
Can y'all
away.
hear
All right,
Darrell
I don't know exactly.
Can y'all hear Darrell and me? Well, if not, this is what we're gonna close out with. And DJ is saying great stuff, guys. We've got a lot to talk about as the off season goes on. We're going to be tracking the college draft picks. We're going to be tracking this general manager and staff conversation for certain. One of the things that we've been discussing is this job desirable? What do you have to work with for real? You're going into a season with no Pro Bowlers. We've already know that some of the players have said they don't want to be included in a rebuild. So we shall see what happens, you all. Ask yourself, would you want the job? So we'll see what happens. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be a lot, and we're going to be covering it all. So not to put a damper on your night, to be like, would you even want this job? But I think that is a fair, and Darrell is coming back in now. I think that is a fair question of when we look at this talent in a GM and head coach and where they would be coming from. Is this a job that you would even want? What pieces do you really have to work with? And because here's the thing, that we've been noticing, right? And I'm sure you all have noticed this. The NFL has very little patience. You all saw me mention Joe Burrow. You all see all of these different rookies in second and third years making Pro Bowls every year they've been in the league. Nobody has time for player development. You got to come in and rock out immediately. We were just talking about the Green Bay Packers, youngest team in the league. They got at least 8 games. Commanders couldn't get that. They can't get 5. So this is a tough. You got a building that's falling apart down the road. You got a building that's falling apart down the road. You got 30 years of a losing culture, disgruntled fans when you're losing, happy when you're losing for a draft pick. These aren't organizations that are used to that kind of thing, right? They're not used to being happy about draft position.
Right.
So this is going to take a huge overhaul, and I want to see DJ's comment here before I take the job. Give me Lake could be the GM. Oh yeah, hey, listen, Rail and Karita will let y'all know, and y'all know me. Hey, excellence, be great or be gone.
Facts. Look,
I don't be great or be gone, because I know what I'm bringing to the table. And if you not bringing that to the table, then you cannot eat with us.
You cannot eat with us.
That's all right.
Oh, bad.
So this is going to be a hard, very hard job with very little room to make a mistake.
Also agree. Also agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people are already ready to get rid of Sam Howell. So
Yeah. Poor Sam. Poor Sam.
nobody want to be bothered with Sam now.
It's like they treat. Oh man, I will say this though. I saw the comment before my earphones decided not to let me listen to you. But the number 2 pick, I know a lot of people are clamoring for. It's not even a guarantee, really. Even if they win, I think it could be weird. I think whatever the Cardinals and the Patriots do,
Yeah,
yeah,
whatever the
yeah.
Patriots
So
do.
whatever that kind of ends up, so they still have to be careful with that. But let's say they go number 2. Hey, look, the last 2 number 2 picks worked out initially for like a year, and after that, it didn't go so well. RG3, Chase Young,
Chase, I talk
something.
bad about Chase.
And it's a lot of things. Then you hear people say, "Hey, let's go bring Caleb in." And a lot of people say, "Look, maybe no more no more local talent." There's a lot of elements that go on, and you got to find the person that is going to be a game changer for the organization. Now, I know Harrison is a very popular person amongst people, but personally, the receiving core they have now is not terrible. I just don't think things have worked out. Maybe just the way everything was set up. Terry's still solid, but if you bring Harrison in with him and Dotson, I mean, there's a lot of potential. Personally, I mean, if I was them, I go offensive lineman. I know it's not the sexy pick, but hey, look, you got to build that thing.
Hey.
Whoever's the next quarterback, they need to be protected. So
I know a lot of people
personally.
are like, if this is what you're gonna get, you got to go quarterback. And my thought is, find me the next Trent Williams.
Facts. Give me that guy. Give me
Find
that guy.
the next Trent Williams, and go into these interviews and be like, are you the next Trent Williams? Are you the next Trent Williams? I'm gonna start asking people, the top Pro Bowlers. Are you like, I mean, seriously, whoever it is, it has to be a generational talent. It has to be right. It's gotta be right. I think whoever the GM, the head coach, whatever they're doing, whoever it is, this is the pick that has to change the trajectory of this franchise. And that is what I would tell somebody coming into this position. I'm gonna be straight up with you. You cannot get this wrong.
No. And be honest with you, if you don't even give it fully right, you got to get the rest of the draft right. You got too many picks in that top. You got a lot. Was like 5 picks in the top 100, I believe. Right. I could be wrong on that.
Something to make me forget that you messed up on that number 2 pick.
Yeah, because it happens. Look, that's the one knock on the Packers. They don't do well first round pick. Those second, third, fourth, fifth round, from second round on, they kill it. And so that's the type of thing. You want the organization to be able to find those hidden gems that that have done well, and they've. Here and there, Terry was a 3rd round pick. They've had some people that had done well with the organization that were later picks, but it hasn't, I like Hudson. Hudson, I think is a really good one that they've gotten the last couple of years. I thought I like watching him on the field. I think he does a really good job. But that's the thing. Like, what are you going to do here? You got to come to play. Got to come to play.
I need the next Trent Williams, and I need the next Ray Lewis.
I mean,
whoever's great, and that's literally, they could be like, Candy is crazy. No,
it's been 30 years. Give me everything you got.
What are we just talking about, Darrell? We said that we have watched teams that would get laughed at: the Browns, the Lions,
the Texans,
the Dolphins, the Texans. All of these teams have now surpassed Washington. Every single last one of them. Every single one. Everybody has gotten it. And Washington still has not. And I'm going to say this. I said this last week, and I think a comment came back and was like, ouch. Being excited about a top draft pick was the previous ownership's claim to fame. Nobody kept him accountable. So right. you barely make the playoffs, if at all, right? But then fans are happy about your draft position, so everybody's happy at the end of the day. I'm fine. Everything is good. No.
Man, you gotta want it.
The team, go and look at winning teams. Go and look at the winning teams. Adopt their mentality, adopt their behavior, because that is what winners do. Winners do not care about a top 3 pick. And whoever comes in here, I'm gonna tell them, hey, listen, this ain't on you, right? This is not on you. This top 2 pick, but you do have to get this right. But don't put my position. Do not put my team in position to have to pick here again. That
Facts.
means you need to be.
That's the answer right there.
That's the answer. And that's
the
my answer, because when you spend $6 billion on something, I do not intend on picking in top 3 when I spend $6 billion. All right. I got people looking at me, they mad. All right. So this not on them, but the whole entire culture and mentality has to change to people who are used to playing in January. Deep into January when it's snowing outside. Those individuals are not going. And we also said this. Now I know Commanders fans really not gonna like this. Darrell, they not gonna like this.
Candy getting them all today.
I'm getting them in. You might not like it, but I told Darrell, I'm not above taking somebody from the Dallas Cowboys front office. I ain't above that.
Look. Hey,
because they on that list. They're on that list of the winningest teams, top 10 in the last 5 years, and they have done well in the draft. And where they haven't done well in free agency, they have made adjustments quickly.
Yes, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but
they don't.
You know, if you look at Dallas, look, here's the thing: Dallas is always in the playoff mix. They may not win the way they would like in the playoffs because they have a high standard, and that's a good thing. That's that mentality that you were talking about. You got to have that high standard, even if we're not winning, or even if we're not winning the Super Bowl. We want the mentality that they're in the playoffs or on the cusp of the playoffs every single year. That's what you want. And, you know, I know y'all probably tired of me talking about Green Bay, but as a Packers fan for the last 30 years, that's the one thing that I could always hang my hat on. They're either in the playoffs or they're going to be in the mix. Or they're right. They're like this weekend. Hey, they win this weekend. Guess what? They're in the playoffs. They lose. Hey, still a good season, in my opinion. But that's the mentality you want. You want to be right there or in there. Because guess what? You can't win the Super Bowl if you ain't in the dance. And I think that's the mentality that the next head coach and GM have to bring. These fans, we said it last week, Candy. These fans have been through enough. They're tired of it.
Enough.
They're tired of it. It's time.
Like, you're not tired. And I have said that, and I'm laughing here. Look, DJ said I'm doing my best impression of Cat Will. Listen, all I'm saying is it's been too long. It's been too long. We're watching people. We just named 4 or 5 teams that used to get laughed at that are now light years better from top to bottom than the Commanders. Come on.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody giving no more passes. I would let, hey, Mr. Harris, Mr. Rails, Mr. Magic Johnson, we want to win too.
Yep.
It is our expectation that you bring that here sooner rather than later, because I'm not cheering for a top 3 pick next year. I ain't cheering for it now.
I feel you.
Less about that top whatever pick, because I don't, because we don't know the return on the investment until they get on the field. Right. So I'm like, this is too early for me to be excited about something that I am not going to know what it is until around week 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't want to hear development. Nobody else talks about that.
They want to win now.
And we see we're involved in the industry such that we hear other coaches talk. We hear other scouts. We hear other media people talk. Ain't nobody talking about that stuff. It's losers talk. And we got to stop.
Got to get out of it.
You spent $6 million. I didn't spend it, but you did. So I'm looking out for your money for real. If you really want to look at it like that, you know, that's one way to look at it. So, I mean, and like they said, like here you're right. We used to cry about Detroit playing on Thanksgiving. We used to be mad, didn't want to watch it. Didn't want, why they put Detroit on Thanksgiving. Now look at them.
I mean, you know, now they're a good team. And the last couple of years they've grown, you know, and see, Detroit's a good example as well. You know, they took a chance on a guy named Dan Campbell, who was out here talking about biting kneecaps. And so he went from biting kneecaps to struggle the first year to almost making the playoffs last year to making the playoffs, winning the division this year. That's the type of progress you want to see. If they don't win next year, just out of whatever, You want to be able to see, okay, that guy's got the right thing. Because with the first thing people said that first year, they was like, Detroit's got it. They just ain't got the talent around them. The second year, with about the same players and a couple of pieces that they added in, and people's like, okay, wait a minute now. This Detroit team got something cooking. This year, expectations come in. Detroit's going to win the division, and they win the division. And, he does make some, plays here and there that are like, well, what's that? But he's a good example. I would think even Mike McDaniel from Miami, same thing. It's like Miami was one of those, like, what do we got going on here type of things. And he's got Tua looking like the, lead vote getter in the Pro Bowl. And what we're talking about.
I'm smiling because I like Mike McDaniel.
I love Mike McDaniel, man. He a cool nerd. He'll say it himself.
He's so cool,
He a cool nerd, man. I love Mike McDaniel. The swag is real.
Funny.
The swag is real.
The swag is real. He's like funny, like dry humor. Like he's not trying to be funny. I think he just is.
Right. And I think the players play like the tough game last week. We'll say that. But you watch those type of coaches and players are playing hard for them. The D'Amico Ryans of the world. Look how hard the Texans are playing this year for a young, energetic head coach. That is the way the league is going. Okay. Young coaches with today's mentality. That's the way you gotta go. That's why like I said, I'm Mike McDonald is my guy. He's my choice right now, unless something changes, which I don't see. Look how excited that Ravens defense. Karita Parks, our girl Karita Parks, will tell you every week. She posted a picture today of Javion Clowney. She was interviewing, talking to him. See Odell in the back. He's smiling, and she made a good point. The energy in that locker room is completely different because everybody's on board. The defense is on board. Everybody's got each other's backs. That's the culture. Forget it if you get the Ravens, but that's the type of culture you want in that locker room. We've seen some sad times when we went in there, and you can just tell the vibe is like, man, you wanted to change, and that's the vibe that you want to see. That's the vibe I know me and you want to see that for years to come. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, you go to the games, you be like, man, I want to see them do well. You cover the team, you want to see them do well.
And shout out to our girl, Alyssa Howell. Alyssa's been commenting. She's with us in the business. One of the greatest photographers, works alongside Darrell, does excellent work as well. She's there. She sees it as well. And it's, everything started out so well. And I know we've had a few shows where we've tried to dissect and really figure out what went wrong in the Commander season. And we kind of went down the games and where we just saw the demise and we saw it. And I want to go back to the point, and Darrell, you can talk more about this because you were out there on the field. You got all of the great moments in seeing how this team reacted to Chase Young and seeing Chase after the game. I'm going to let you.
Yeah, look, here's the thing. I think, there was a lot of negative comments after, he got traded, and people say, well, look at this. He's down on his teammates. I'm going to tell you what. They stayed out there. He was the last one to leave the field. For the 49ers. Everybody else was in the back, had started walking in the back. He sat out there hugging coaches, hugging players. You can still see that there was a lot of love there. McLaurin and Curtis Samuel came up to him. A lot of love, a lot of energy. Him and EB shared a really private, well, not private per se, but a very, intimate moment. And, he told him he was proud of him, and you could just, it was almost like a proud papa to an extent, but, you just kind of saw that energy throughout. Players on the defense, but a lot of people went by and they made sure they spent time with him. They said hi, we miss you. Like the vibe was there. I feel like if Montez had came, they would give Montez the same exact treatment.
Absolutely.
So there was some love there, and it's I don't know. I just you want to see the team do well, and after seeing that, it made me a little sad to an extent because we've been covering Chase Young for years.
It did.
Yep. We've been covering him for years, and it was kind of sad to see them
I had the same feeling, Darrell, in the locker room, in the San Francisco locker room. Talked to Trent. Of course, we did a media scrum, and then we talked to Chase. We did a media scrum, and then we did tell Chase as soon as it was over. It was like, I started off. I was like, well, Chase, it's really good to see you, man. Like, he said, it's good to see y'all too. And we just all started talking, and I'm like, I cannot believe Chase and Montez got traded. Like, of all the things that we predicted for this season, that absolutely wasn't on the list.
Not
And
both. I thought
not
one
both,
maybe.
not both.
I thought one maybe, but not both.
And we were, and it was sad. I shared that same sentiment, Darrell, that it was sad because we're also here to try to dispel rumors and myths as well. Chase and Montez had a beautiful relationship with their teammates. They were the life of that locker room. There was no issues. There were no beef. Those guys loved them. And I shared that on a previous show. And it was so evident on Sunday after the game. It was really, really evident.
I think there may be, I'm not going to the small beef, but there was a little moment between Forbes and Chase, and I'm not going to say what what was said that was said, but besides that, Forbes is new, so that one I don't take too much. He's new to the team, so I don't take too much to that because everybody else was just like they were so glad to see him. I don't know what Forbes was.
I'll say this: I saw Joey slide, and even Tress Way was like waiting to talk to him, like they couldn't wait to talk to him.
Yeah, Joey dapped him up at the end. We got they got a good hug in there. Yeah, I think he might be the only one that I knew for sure. Like, I don't know, maybe him, but everybody else was there.
He might have been like, "Boy, if you will get out of here." But anyway, well, y'all, listen, you're gonna be seeing a lot of us, and so don't get tired of us. Make sure you locked in. Like I said, be locked in. Make sure you're following both Darrell and myself. Lots of draft pick conversation, draft prospect conversation as the all season continues. Of course, all the updates on what is happening with any staff changes, all of that. Stay locked into Bowie TV. We got y'all with the Commanders. We gonna have y'all all off season. If you know Ravens fans, Karita's got you locked in as you all continue on the path. Looks like the AFC, the road to the Super Bowl runs through Baltimore. So we got that coverage as well. So we gonna have all of it locked in, and there's actually much more to come from Bowie TV as the off season goes on, and we'll be sure to keep y'all updated. So y'all, thanks for hanging out with Darrell and I. Y'all stay here the whole time.
We appreciate that. We appreciate that.
We appreciate that. But y'all, be good. Try to stay awake. Send Darrell some warm wishes, literally warm wishes.
Yes, please.
Please. You know, and like this one says, don't forget to hit that like, y'all. Appreciate that support. Hit that like. Appreciate it so much. You guys have been awesome. And we're going to see you guys again soon.
Take care.